Thank you for viewing this year's Title II Part A Desk Monitoring webinar. We're going to take a closer look at the self-assessment tool, where and how to upload documentation, what areas will be reviewed, a timeline for the monitoring window, and a few helpful hints that hopefully will be helpful throughout the process. Federal program monitoring is a requirement under the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. We hope that you will look at this as an opportunity to strengthen your program, to take a closer look at how your Title II Part A funds are being used. The self-assessment document that we're providing is very similar to what we use to measure the effectiveness of a program. And so we, again, hope this will be helpful as you get the information together. We will be evaluating these 4 areas: teacher certification, the development, implementation, and evaluation of your Title II Part A program, equitable services in terms of how your private schools participate, and financial management. You will soon get an invitation to a SharePoint folder if you have not already received it. Within that folder will be 4 separate folders that align with each one of the areas that we review. And in addition to that, you will have the self-assessment document that you will fill out as you go through the evidence documentation. This is just the first page of that desk self-assessment tool. It explains pretty much just how this is a requirement from the Department of Education and what areas will be reviewed, and also just some brief instructions on how to label the documentation and where to upload it. So this is just a glance at the first 2 pages of the assessment document, and if you'll notice, some parts just require a yes or no response, and then others are going to ask for a description. But all will have a place for you to list the evidence that you have uploaded. And I want to just take a closer look at that. We do ask that you complete each section, and if it is a requirement that your district does not utilize, such as your district may not provide salaries out of Title II Part A, or you may not have any participating non-public schools, you will just leave that section blank. But if it does pertain to your district, we do ask that you submit the documentation that you feel best represents your program, and then that you name it in SharePoint as you have listed it here on the self-assessment tool. You'll notice that there are suggested documentation lists under each requirement, and really want to point out that these are just that, only suggestions. You may have evidence that better represents what you're doing in your district, and we welcome you to upload that instead of what has been suggested here. So just as an example, if this were the first page of the self-assessment document, this is just a yes or no section, but whatever you have uploaded into that folder we ask that you also list that on the self-assessment document. Again, it helps it stay more organized, and it will help us know exactly what you want us to see in terms of the evidence to support the requirement. Likewise, on the portions that ask for a response, we really encourage you to keep this just brief and to the point. There is no need to, really stress over this. Just share with us what you're doing. And then again, list the documentation that you have uploaded to support your description, and then upload those into the corresponding folder. And again, this is just an example of what it could look like. So I want to go through the document, just each section, to give a little bit more information maybe than what is there in the description. So the first portion of the overall monitoring document has to do with teacher certification. Part A asks that you just provide evidence that you are ensuring all the teachers in your district are appropriately certified. If there are teachers in the district that are not, please indicate that, and then upload documentation that shows how you are supporting those teachers. Part B asks that you show that the letter or your document that notifies parents of their right to request information regarding their children's teachers. And then Part C, if you do have staff members in the district who are teaching either through emergency certification or if they may be in an area that they are not certified for, that you are communicating with families if that staff member has been in that position 4 or more consecutive weeks. The second part is probably the most lengthy, and that is all about your program implementation, how it's developed, how you implement it, and how you evaluate it for effectiveness. So Section A asks for a brief description on how all shareholders are invited to work on the design of the Title II program. So we ask that you describe that and then upload documentation that supports your description. In Section B, we ask for you to briefly describe how you are using a needs assessment to drive your program, how data is used to support the decisions that are made. In Section C, we ask just for a brief response and documentation on how your district chooses to prioritize your funds. And typically this can be, found and linked to the needs assessment and your district improvement plan. But if there are TSI or CSI schools in your district, we'd like to see how you're using these funds to support those schools. The next couple of sections may or may not apply to your district. So if they do not, feel free just to put an NA in here or just leave it blank. So if you do utilize funds for class size reduction, this is where you would describe how that meets the needs in your district, what evidence you have that it's effective, the research that you're reviewing to know that this is a strategy that's right for your district. And again, if you do not utilize funds for class size reduction, you would leave this blank. E and F are similar to this, and that is if funds are used for professional learning, what evidence are you using to know that the professional learning you're utilizing, it fits the needs of your district. And the same would go for the section F. If you are using funds for recruiting and retention, briefly describe how you're doing that and upload evidence that supports your description. Section G is part of Title II Part A, Title II Part A intent, and that is how you support staff, either new staff that are new coming into the district, new to the profession, and also how you work to build the capacity of the teachers that are already working in your district. And then Section H is if you have any personnel that are paid out of Title II Part A funds, please just to describe their role and how it also aligns with the needs in your district. The final portion of your program implementation section has to do with the coordinator and how the Title II coordinator works with the schools within the district and works at the district level in the development of school plans and programs, and then how your Title II Part A program is evaluated each year to ensure that the funds are being used effectively. The third section of the monitoring has to do with non-public schools and equitable services. If your district does not have any participating non-public schools, then you will leave this section blank. If you do work with non-public schools, and that includes private schools and homeschools, then this is where you will, answer these questions, yes or no, and then upload documentation that shows that there's two-way communication and consultation with the non-public schools that ensures that the district is overseeing those services and expenditures, that there are processes in place for equipment retrieval or and that the services provided to non-public schools are equal to those being provided to public schools. And then finally, that your non-public schools have been made aware of any procedures for complaints. The last section is takes a look at the financial management. So the first question is about the Munis report and ensuring that it is aligned with your approved GMAP budget. So for this, we do ask that you upload a detailed Munis report. The numbers will not, the dollar numbers will not match identically, obviously, because the grant is still open and all the funds have not been utilized. But the cost codes should be aligned with what's in your approved GMAP application. And so again, please upload the detailed Munis for this section. B and C have to do with procedures that are used in your district, and both of these have to do with people who are paid out of any type of federal funds. So this would be, what policies your district has for time and effort for people paid out of federal funds, and if you do have any staff that are paid either partially or solely from Title II Part A funds, how you keep track of the time that is worked, how you document that the work they are doing is tied directly to your Title II Part A program. Also included in financial management are just a description of the internal controls that are in place within the district, that the accounting of your Title II Part A funds is separate than other units, and for Title II Part A, that is Project 401. And then finally, how the district ensures that all of these funds are used in addition to what the district already uses to support any activities or initiatives. The timeline for this year's monitoring is fairly quick, but we do feel like this is adequate time for both you to get your evidence uploaded, and then for us to review it and then get that information back to you. So we do ask that you have the self-assessment document completed and the evidence uploaded into SharePoint by November 26th. And then we will have a draft report back to you by December 10th, outlining, what we have, what we have seen, and, certainly the strengths and things within your program. If there are any things that need to be changed or looked at, you will have until January 7th to work on some of the, work on what is identified. And at that time, we'll send our final report. If there is any other additional evidence that is required, we extend that to January 21st. But again, we will not wait until then. We will be in communication with you throughout. So just a couple things to think about. I said earlier, even though this does create extra work, we hope you do see it as an opportunity to really take a closer look at your program, to celebrate the things that you're doing well. And if there are some areas that could be improved upon, being able to discover those yourself as you look through this, and just really, make your program stronger and the best that it can be. We were monitored by the federal government last year, and it was a bit overwhelming at first, but it really was a valuable experience in helping us as a team strengthen our program at the state level, strengthen what we hope to do in terms of our technical assistance that we offer to districts. So we hope it will be the same for you. And please know that we encourage you to communicate with us throughout with any questions, anything that we can help with. We certainly want to do that. But as you complete the self-assessment document, and I may not have mentioned this at the beginning, but feel free just to type directly into that document. It is a Word document, so it's editable. You may want to print it off and handwrite into it, whatever works best for you. But use that not only to self-assess your program, but also to help organize your evidence. This is a good time to put all that together and have it, categorized by different sections. And also, if you see that you're not maybe saving meeting agendas or sign-in sheets or whatever, this is a really good time to put those initiatives in place. Again, be sure to label each piece of documentation in the self-assessment document as it is in SharePoint. So the names should be the same. Communicate with us at, any time that you need us. That again is what we're here for. And then please know that you can use the same documentation in multiple areas. So your Munis report, for example, that would be evidence or documentation evidence in several sections. You may have a district professional learning plan. That would be also very useful in multiple sections. So please don't feel like these have to be different in each section, and the same documentation may be used multiple times. So our contact information is here. You will receive an email from the consultant that will be working directly with your district, but feel free to contact any of us at any time if you have a question. I've included my phone number there on the slide as well. So thank you for your time today, and we really look forward to learning about all the great things that you're doing in your school district.